Okay, welcome to lesson 15 of Algebraic Concepts, Equations Part 2. So we looked at the last. Okay, so you can look through the objectives, pause the video and read through these at your own time. Here's some properties of equality. So here's some more properties that we need to look at about equality, because we're going to be using these around. So really take the time to read over this, and we're going to use these some more vocabulary. So now, this is a two-step equation. So I should have stepped off in a one-step equation. So what you have to do here is work your way to the opposite. So you have to get the idea, or the purpose is to get the variable to be 1p. 1p equals to something. Okay. The coefficient in front of the variable needs to be 1, positive 1, and it needs to be by itself on one side. So now we got to talk about moving the numbers. We got to move the 5 and we have to move the 2. So the first thing we're going to start with is the 5, because it's subtracted. And the first thing we have to do is do the opposite. So the opposite of -5 is +5. So we're using the additive inverse property. 2p, -5 plus 5 is 0, so it goes away, equals 11 plus 5, which is 16. Now, we have to make 2 1. And how do we make 2 1? We multiply it by a half, its inverse, or we just divide by 2. It's multiplicative inverse, which is another property. So 2 divided by 2 becomes 1. We now have +1 in front of p. And whatever you do to one side of the equation, you had to do to the other. So if I add 5 on one side, I had to add 5 on the other, because we saw in the previous slide that is your transitive property. And so 16 divided by 2 becomes 8. So you're going to use a mixture of the properties from the previous page to solve all types of equations. Okay, so write an equation from the word sentence. This is something that we practice. There must be a typo. The sum when -3 is added to a number a is 4.8. The quotient of a number d and -4 is 10. Twice a number r decreased by 8.5 is 10.3. And let's look at what our answers are. And these were easy enough, so just a little bit more practice dealing with how to write word sentences into numbers. And this is going to be very important for when we start dealing with functions and looking at stories and how to make an equation, a table of values, and a graph. Okay, which property of equality is used if 2x equals -5, let's see, 2x equals -5, and -5 equals y, then 2x equals y. So what are we saying here? 2x equals -5, -5 equals y. So if 2x equals -5, -5 equals y, we got y here. So now we're seeing 2x equals y, because y is -5. So which property of equality is used? So again, here we use the transitive property. Transitive, which says if a equals b and b equals c, then a, and the arrow means then, a equals c. And so we saw 2x as a equals -5, b B equals C, so A must equal C. So those were our examples for this lesson. I will see you at the end of the video after you've practiced some problems. Okay, write each word sentence as an equation. The square of the sum of a number, the square of the sum of a number and 2. So a number plus 2 parentheses squared equals 49. 49, I'm sorry. N plus 2 squared equals 49. And how do I know? The sum of, we talked about this in the equation. When you see the sum of, think parentheses, or the difference of, and things like that. Think parentheses, a number and 2. Okay, tell whether negative 4 is a solution to each equation. Again, put your number in parentheses when you substitute. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16, so this is true. 4 minus negative 4, two negatives with nothing in between them becomes a positive. That does not equal 0, so that is false. Okay, so that's the end of this video. I hope you got something out of this. Again, there are at least 38 more videos dealing with equations. So I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you. And subscribe and hit that notification bell.